Hey there, welcome back. I hope everybody's doing good out there today. Today I have a super thanks donation request for TrishaGG. Trisha, thank you so much for your donation. I really do, really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. It really does mean the world. Trisha wanted me to listen to Pearl Jam. Now, little background. I like to let y'all know when I've heard know the band, know a song. The song she wants me to listen to is Black. Now, I do know Pearl Jam. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so I know who Pearl Jam is. And I have heard the song Black before. But Trisha wanted me to watch the MTV Unplugged version of this, which I have not seen. I was back when Pearl Jam came out. I wasn't into grunge. I was still holding on to the happy party music or the epic historical fantasy music. I held out away from grunge. I listened to Nirvana. I listened to Pearl Jam. I listened to Soundgarden. I listened to stuff like that. But I wasn't a big fan of it. So, and Black was a huge song. You couldn't have not heard it. But I didn't really watch. I still haven't seen Nirvana's big famous Unplugged. I didn't see this one. I think the only MTV Unplugged I ever saw was Tesla's, because they were still one of my 80s bands. And I love Tesla, by the way. Fantastic band. See them live. They're amazing. But that's the point. So the song will be relatively familiar. It's not something I listen to all the time. If it hits the radio and I'm it'll be there, but it's nothing I hunted down. And it wasn't because of the quality either. I don't want y'all to think that I hated Pearl Jam or hated any of these other grunge bands. I dug the music, I just never really got into it. So I know how good Pearl Jam is. Eddie Vedder is an amazing singer, and I'm excited to see this because, like I said, I've never seen the Unplugged version of it or heard the Unplugged version of it. So, Trisha, thank you for your donation again, and thank you for bringing, this is high school for me. This was in 91. I was let's say, I think this was, I looked it up just now, it was March of 91, which means I was coming to the end of my junior year in high school. I graduated in 92, but I'm excited for this. So this is like back in the day. This is as HD as it gets, and look how grainy it is. Yes, kids, any kids that are watching me, this is what we used to see on TV. But anyways, so here we go. Super thanks donation request for TrishaGG of Pearl Jam with the acoustic version of Black. Baseline is killer. Okay. Yeah, this is just such a classic song. I've heard it, hundreds of times or over the years. Again, never really focused on it, but if it was on the radio, I wouldn't turn the radio. I like the song is great. Eddie's voice is amazing. What's really cool about this was 91. They only had one album out, 10, which was an amazing, that was an amazing debut album. Um, most people, most bands don't really hit, especially back then, wouldn't really hit it big until your third or fourth album. They released that first album. Actually, a lot of the grunge bands did that because Nirvana's first album was the hit. Soundgarden's was big. So yeah, I guess in the world of grunge, your first album is just it's going to hit. But they got this MTV Unplugged gig a year after their debut album came out. That's how big that album was. It's really impressive. And I was looking up the members of the band. This is the original lineup: Eddie, Jeff, Stone, Mike, and Dave. All of them except Dave on drums. That's the current lineup now. The other four, they're still together today. So that's pretty impressive longevity. So 90 to 25, so 35 years. That's a long time for those four guys to have been together. But this is a killer song. I love the acoustic version. Let me know. I know I've seen it before, and I probably in the back of my mind somewhere know the name of it. But what is that steel-bodied guitar called? The one with the round steel part. I know it's a specific type of guitar, obviously, but I just every time it was showing, I'm like in my mind I was trying to go, what is that called? What is that guitar called? But let me know what that guitar is. But this is a killer. It's a killer song. Amazing, version of it. I love the acoustic versions of really big, loud songs.
Take a walk outside. I'm surrounded by some kids at play. I can feel their laughter. So why do I see and twisting thoughts that spin round my head? I'm spinning, oh, I'm spinning. How quick the sun can drop away. And now my bitter hand, great old broken glass of what was everything. Oh, the picture sad, open once and glad, tattooed everything. Oh, the love gone bad, turned my world to black, tattooed all I see, all that I am, all I'll be.
Okay, this is cool. I love watching the drummer. I love watching drummers in acoustic settings, especially drummers of really big. Pearl Jam's a big, loud band that's usually playing arenas or big halls, and I always love watching drummers when they're playing with an acoustic set because you can tell how much they're holding back. I mentioned this when I was watching the acoustic bandmade acoustics music, seeing Okone trying her best to not just blast out the entire room. I always find it because you see how delicate they can be. They're used to just pounding those drums, and they have to be super careful not to go too big. This is a really great version of the song. I think I prefer this to the full electric version. This is a really good sounding song. The acoustic, it works really well with acoustic. Very, very cool. Okay, that was super thanks donation request for TrishaGG of Pearl Jam with their acoustic version of Black. That was great. I really liked the acoustic version of that song. Eddie is such an amazing singer, and he's so intense. I wasn't sure how he would be in this smaller setting, with the quieter setting, but he was just as intense of any video or live version I've seen of him do. Fantastic. The whole band is really good. I've definitely come to appreciate this style of music more as I've gotten older. Like I said, when it first came out, I was rebelling against it because it was like, I like the happy music. I like the happy party music, or like I said, like, fantasy history stuff, Iron Maiden style or stuff like that. So when grunge came out, I was like, this isn't any good. This isn't fun. It's not fun, but it was a needed style of music for the time. The excesses of the 80s was a little too much. So this is the style that kind of needed to happen. And I really enjoyed this. This was really good. Trisha, thank you so much for having me listen to this. I probably would have never gone back in time and listened to this version of this. The electric version is on the radio every once in a while, but I would have never heard this. So thank you so much for your donation. Thank you for having me listen to this. This was fantastic. If you guys like this video, give it a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.